Monday, everybody, and welcome back to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSperts, where your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, is Mr. Andy Molitor. Although we really just want to talk about winning time, let's talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs. And honestly, I want to start with your Minnesota Timberwolves, Andy. Not only are you going to have home playoff games, your Timberwolves looking pretty good, putting the ball in the hole.
Yeah, that was the joke I made when I said, "Hey, they're gonna be in the playoffs. They just have to do the thing where they score 140 points because it's so hard for the other team to score 141 even against this defense." And I mean, the second half wasn't completely, but the first half, what was the halftime score? Like 65, 62? I mean, they're gonna have some of these 40-point quarters. It's a very fun offense to watch if you don't give a shit about like good fundamental defense. I asked that of Drew the other day. I said, because we just talked about Finch and like the ceiling for a team like this. And I said, how do you keep this offense as fun, fluid, exciting, and effective as it is while adding something to get them to a sniff of like baseline, middle of the road, median league defense? It's like if they can stop some people here and there, hoofty. That'd be a fun team. But yeah, that was the only low seed to win, I believe, out of the first out of all the game ones.
Yeah, so I was looking through. I just want to double check that you're right. I don't believe that we had any other
Even in the
upsets. We
four
did
four
not.
fives don't
The
count.
Nets were close.
Yes.
But besides that, and the Bulls gave the Bucks a little bit of a scare there as well. But yeah, outside of your Minnesota Timberwolves, all the favorites came through unscathed.
Yeah. It was a fun game. Really proud of Anthony Edwards. Big moment there. We talked about that a little off the air. Like never play. I mean, the play-in game was something, I guess. Maybe that helped. Like that's dipping your toes in the water, but never playing a NBA playoff game. Like that's a big deal, I think. And Cat didn't look as shitty as he did in the play-in game. That was a weird game. I'm a little sad we didn't get the Clippers. We haven't talked since that game. I'm sad we didn't get the Clippers in as the 8th seed. Pelicans are gonna just get their shit roasted. Honestly, they're gonna that's a sweep. That didn't feel good. That didn't feel good at all watching that game. The one we thought would be very, very much, a sweep or gentleman's sweep, like you said, the Bulls were more competitive than we thought. That was a fun game. Obviously,
Buck sweep
everybody
still alive.
it's still alive, but and everybody expected the Nets Celtics game to be good, and it was. It didn't let us down. So it's fun that we have that really good series. It'll be fun if the T Wolves and in Memphis run that 6-7 games, and that's a fun series. It's always good to have a couple good ones because you're going to have some Suns Pelicans and things of that nature. I was a little disappointed in Atlanta, but it's just if Trey is going to have a bad game, you're not going to have a good game. It's just not.
Well, no Clint
There's
Capella too. That's huge.
that didn't help, yeah. But like, yeah, if Trey's going to put up those kind of numbers, the team's not going to be competitive. So if he gets his shit together and they play a little better, maybe make I don't say make a series out of it, but make some games that'll be worth watching for sure. And you're betting today. Is there four today? Is it four? Is
Three
it four?
today.
Four? Just three. So they're spreading some of these out a little.
Yeah, we'll go 3 and then 3 tomorrow. And I think it's they keep doing kind of 3-3 and then maybe a 2 every so often. But yeah, they slow it down just a bit so they can give some teams 2 days off here and there. But 3 games tonight. My Philadelphia 76ers play what is now a decimated Toronto Raptors team. Scotty Barnes, no broken bones in that ankle apparently, but we'll see how he looks. He needs to come back. As well as Gary Trent Jr. We know he's out tonight, so we'll see. I mean, again, the plan for the series was the Sixers get these 2, and then the Raptors kind of make things interesting if they could get 2 in Toronto. So if those guys can be healthy come Game 3, things might be interesting. But tonight, a team in the Sixers that has a short bench honestly has a longer bench than the Raptors tonight. The Raptors played effectively 7 guys, and 2 were gone. So it's going to be really interesting to see who fills those minutes tonight. It'll be a lot of Khem Birch, a lot of Thaddeus Young. Young and who else. But good spot for the Sixers. The 7.5 looks just about right. It should be a little bit slower, uglier game. So I think that's the reason we're not seeing double digits there. The Jazz Mavericks game do have a play there. This was a game where I think we're just getting some value with how ugly that game was to start. I know some people in our NBA chat did a great job with getting the early under there, but some of us grabbed some overs just before the game started. And it never really started. I think that it being the first kind of game, Dallas and Utah not having played for a little while, they hadn't played a play-in game, so a little rusty, as well as it being an early start time. For the Mavericks, that was a noon start time. For the Jazz, it's an 11 a.m. start time for their internal clocks, if you will. So I think we get a nice bounce back spot here where we'll start to see some better shot making and honestly some more three-point attempts. Simply, the Jazz only shot 22 threes, which I think was one of maybe only 6 or 7 times all year they've shot less than 25. So a little bit of an outlier game. And I think, again, we've got some value coming back on the over here. Now, instead of playing the full game over of 206 or 206, I'm seeing 206.5 or so. Just give me the Jazz team total over here. The Mavericks had a great game, and I think that the Jazz will have had some time to make some adjustments for some of those things. And again, I just don't expect Dallas to be as dominant, but we'll see. I mean, maybe the stadium is, again, the home court advantage there was excellent. The stadium was absolutely rocking, and they were getting advantage of a home court whistle. So we'll see if they can bring that energy again tonight, but I think they'll be a little deflated. And again, it's just a really nice bounce back spot for the Jazz. So give me the team total over. Don't mind the full game over. And then the nightcap, our Denver Nuggets against the Golden State Warriors. And I guess I'll just say it this way. If the Warriors are going to shoot almost 50% from three every game, our Nuggets bets are not going to end well.
It's not going to happen. And then which Celtics game did you want to talk about? Did you want to talk about which Celtics game with the walk-off tour are we going to talk about? The Nets game or the 1979 1980 game against the Lakers, which was with Cooper with the walk-off?
I said at the top of the show, we're not going to talk about winning time, but if you're not watching that show, you need to watch that show. This weekend's episode was honestly the best basketball-related thing after a weekend of really good basketball.
And if you don't live in Boston, you probably dislike Boston fans. It's a good episode for you.
Great episode.
It's a good episode for me in that regard. So, and I know people from Boston. They're nice enough people. I mean, it's kind of one of those, 2.6 million bad apples give the whole bunch a bad name because they're some assholes. But yeah, it was a pretty good episode. I'm excited about more Celtics content in the real world and in that one. And yeah, 3-3-2. That's weird. So Timberwolves play tomorrow, though, right? I kind of planned because I have deep dive Monday and Wednesday. Okay.
Yep. T-Wolves tomorrow night, 7:30 your time.
Okay, good. So we will watch the Timberwolves tomorrow. God, can you imagine heading back to the Target Center up 2-0? Oh no. This is it must win and can't lose for Memphis. Both of them. I think it falls into both categories. And we're on to golf. Oh God, another week. I might do a ranking.
Where did Jordan Spieth come from, by the way? I was casually watching that. Was he even like top 15 going into Sunday? I feel like his name wasn't anywhere on the board. We saw the highlight of him missing an 18-inch putt, and then all of a sudden I go back and check later because everyone's complaining about all their outrights. And I'm like, oh, maybe Cantlay actually won. And there's Spieth's name. Like, what happened, Andy?
There were just 35 people within like 5 shots of the lead, and it was the kind of course that was able to give up. There were 62s out there. It was a course where anybody could have done something like that. He went into the the locker room. He went into the clubhouse behind. Shane Lowry had I had a Shane Lowry ticket. It wasn't a big ticket, but 25-1 would have been nice. Shane Lowry really did let me down. Luckily, matchups did well. I think it went 6-2 or 5-1 in full tournament matchups, and then daily matchups were, as always, those went okay. Top 20, top 10 stuff. I had Varner 6-1 to top 10, which is nice, and then him at like 2.5 or 3-1 to top 20. He took third. So I placed 12 bets, top 10, top 20. Varner getting a 6-1 and like a 3-1 pretty much pays for the 10 other ones. And I think one of the other ones was a dead heat. So that stuff just kind of pushed. So mostly just, I get to this every week. It's like, you know what? I should just be betting matchups. Like that's the only thing that consistently works for me. So, yeah, Mito would have been nice. Lowry would have been great because he was there. Connors was right there. I had some guys in the mix, so I'm
It
not
was.
mad at the results. But yeah, the Spieth thing was he's Spieth. He does this thing. He did this last year in Texas, where he just came out of nowhere and won an event, and he was playing better at that point. But I don't know. Spieth does Spieth things, and we're on to
He does play high variance golf,
NOLAs.
and that's why he's so fun to watch. I mean, he is shooting for the hole pretty much every time.
I except on that 18-incher. He did miss an 18-inch putt. He wouldn't even had to go to the playoffs. So
I could see
um
it. I've seen golfers do that. He was thinking about the next tee. He was
yeah.
looking down. It's like whatever next tee, and it's still there.
So yeah,
But
toilet bowled out of there. So like I said, weird week. Not quite on the level of match play or Stableford week, but still a goofy week. The top 80 golfers, according to the ranking they're deciding to use, have priority to play, and then they can pick whoever they want. Like you can pick me or Noops to be your golf partner. I don't know. Maybe you have to pick somebody with a PGA card. I think maybe that's probably a prereq, but you can basically that's what you're Ryan Palmer here. Ryan Palmer's on the first line here or the first page of odds because he's Scheffler's partner. So Hovland Morikawa kind of team Young Guns. That's a fun one. Cantlay Shoffley team almost wins a lot of tournaments. Last year's winner Leishman and Smith they did win. They're defending champs. Burns Horschel, Fleetwood Garcia, Lowry Poulter. That's an interesting one, considering how well Lowry's playing and how poorly Poulter is. I'm excited for this, but yeah, I mean,
what's
it's
the format? Is it just match play? Are they doing anything fun? I mean,
all right.
is it something different every round?
Yes, for sure. So this is different events, different rounds. They do 2 rounds of best ball and 2 rounds of oh god, it's not scramble. What's the other thing? 2 rounds of best ball. I had it written down. I thought I saved the tweet. Now I'm annoyed that it's not in my book anymore. 2 rounds of best ball, which means you play your ball all the way to the hole. So does your partner. Whoever gets the best score on that hole, you take yours, throw out the higher score. And then the other one is alternate shot. So they'll play two
Gotcha.
rounds of best ball, 2 rounds of alternate shot. Alternate shot is I hit the tee shot, you hit the approach shot, or the next shot, whatever. If it's a par three, you'd putt. So alternate shot, 2 rounds, best ball 2 rounds. Gonna be a
Ultimate
little
shot is fun.
tricky. Alternate shot is very fun, especially if you have like a big hitter and a guy who's pretty crispy with his irons. You can end up with using two people's strengths to create a really nice strategy to make yourself into a super team. So I'm excited to handicap it. I haven't got too deep in it yet. Ron has a preview up on BetSports Golf already of the course. Dan and I have already looked at it. It's a boring course. And I think we can say that only because the last 2 courses we got to play were Augusta, and this Harbor Town is a fun course too, just based on some of the stuff, the water and the tree lined areas. So TPC Louisiana, I think it's just called TPC Louisiana. It's not great compared to those, but it's still a good course. It's a TPC course. I'll have some outrights later this week. And if you paid attention to Noops, you'd have some outrights in your pocket already in both Stuttgart and Istanbul as you play some futures, including a big one. I believe there's an
There's a
80 to
couple
1.
numbers I like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sorry. I thought I'd have time to write a preview, but when they release the draw less than 24 hours before match play starts, you get outrights less than like 12 hours before match play starts. It's nuts. It's amazing that tennis is a professional organization run with the interest of making money. It's fun times. But tweeted out a handful of outrights, and I will have some match picks. You get these live. The numbers shouldn't move. There are some round one matches literally happening right now. So tennis on right now, just shortly after we're done as well. But after that's done, probably later this afternoon, they'll reopen up. In Stuttgart, like Contivate 12 to 1 or better, or is it Danzig 80 to 1 or better? As a Danzig, there should be some 50s out there or better. That number is really good. Again, Contivate, this is a perfect setup for her. It's indoors, which really generally helps her serve. I think she's won some outrageous number of tournaments in a row indoors, honestly, at this point, on hard court generally, but on clay, she should be fine as well. And then Zidansek, honestly, has just had a really tough hard court season. And I wonder, again, if maybe last week a couple weeks ago in Miami was looking ahead to this week as opposed to really trying her best and just a value play. I mean, in these conditions, her game is really set up nicely and she has an awesome spot in the draw. In Istanbul, in fact, not Constantinople, Andy, we're going to take some Teichmann 14 to 1 or better and some Martic 25 to 1 or better. Two players, again, just had a little bit down finish to the year. Teichmann, again, hasn't been too great, but I think the surface change will be good for them both. But do have some single picks as well. Now, hard to figure out when these matches start, but they'll be early in the morning East Coast time. At least Stuttgart, I believe, is matches start about 3-4 in the morning, East Coast time there. For Istanbul, again, similar time, I believe around 4 in the morning. Actually, Stuttgart's 4 in the morning. Istanbul's 3 in the morning, East Coast time. So get these in before you go to bed. But we'll start in Stuttgart with an underdog, Chloe Piquet. She hadn't had a great hard court season, did qualify for this tournament, admittedly didn't beat, the highest quality of opponents, but in these conditions, going against Ludmila Samsonova, I'm looking at like minus 250 here. That's just a wild price to me. I would still have Samsonova favored based on the overall quality of her game. Again, this is indoors, and Samsonova has the serve and kind of the game that should play well there, despite it being on clay. But Piquet, again, love betting on qualifiers here, especially against someone who's coming in cold on a surface switch. In a match where I already have some value here, I have this closer like plus 160. I got it down to plus 150 as I started to tweak some stuff. So plus 200 or better looks really nice there. And just taking the money line. If this gets out of hand, she probably gets beat up. So just grab the money line here and not the game spread like I was doing a little bit last week. But we'll take a spread here and sold a game here, half a game actually. Annette Kontaveit, again, have her on the outright, but love her just to blow out in this first match as well. She faces Angelique Kerber, solid player, but just is going to be totally outmatched, I think, here in their matchups. They played a handful of times. Kontaveit has done very well. Loves this. Loves these courts, does very well here in general. Feel free to play the 4.5 at standard juice if you want, but I think selling that half game to get plus 110, plus 115 is great value. If she wins this match, it's going to be really comfortable, like 6-4, 6-2. So happy to bet the blowout there at plus money. And then in Istanbul, Sorona Kirstea, defending champion, minus 120 in the first round to get Alexandra Sasnovich. Sasnovich really on an upward arc, and I'm a little concerned maybe that I might be undervaluing her as we make the switch in surfaces. Generally, clay hasn't been great for her, whereas Kirstea has been really comfortable here. So might possibly be underrating her opponent a little bit in this match, but like Kirstea a lot, had this closer to minus 45 or minus 50. And then Nuria Parisas Diaz, this actually moved a little against me. I had this at even money. It looks like it's plus 105, maybe a little bit better. Again, as we make the surface switch, I'm happy to back players that have shown success on clay that maybe haven't had the best hard court seasons, and have her as a short favorite here over Martina Trevisan. So happy to grab her at any plus number. So 4 picks for you again. Should start tomorrow. Stuttgart, 4 o'clock in the morning or earlier. Istanbul, 3 o'clock in the morning Eastern or earlier. Or later.
Later, earlier, horse apiece. Yeah, we are
right.
back to here. You guys were spoiled for a bit. We had North American, South American, Central American tennis. It was on at normal times. But yeah, Stuttgart is in Europe. That's part of Germany. That is a different time zone, which is nice. I like the. I'm finally over the. I have to stay up and watch it if I bet it. I'm really happy with the betting it, sleeping, waking up, and just checking my phone as I wake up. I'm fine with that. So I enjoy that. As the Twins are piling on in Boston, just shitting on Boston on Patriots Day too. That's not very nice, but I still will cheer for the Twins to score 100 runs today. And then yeah, you brought up outrights. Bring up our feature sponsor today, Profit Exchange. We are about to have an exchange in America, launching in New Jersey soon. It's a story I brought up a lot in the past of my Louis Oosthuizen outrights. I had a 90 to 1 on him in one of the majors, and a European friend of mine mentioned, he's like, "Oh man, you just trade out of that, buddy. I don't have an exchange. I can't do that. We have some cash out buttons on here, so that is something I'll be looking forward to as exchanges roll on. Is trading, especially trading outrights. You mentioned your 80 to 1, things like that. We don't always hedge out of stuff, but it is nice to take. You don't have to sell the whole damn thing. You can just you can take some exposure off without having to find a two-way market or something of that nature. I think that'll be
Talk
my
about
favorite
laying
part.
and backing.
Yeah, you can again, you take a player at 80 to 1, they make it far enough where maybe they're 4 to 1. In Oosthuizen's case, he was favored to win that golf tournament that he did not. You can lay him at plus money for whatever part of your stake and go back the other way on an exchange. So excited to see Private Exchange launch. If you check the show notes, you'll see a link. Sign up to their newsletter to get their best offer when they do launch in New Jersey imminently, very soon. Appreciate you, supporting the sponsors. Appreciate you following along, joining us today, hitting the thumbs up in the YouTube, and catch you tomorrow with some more sports betting picks, thoughts, and ideas.